There's a gentleman in the studio today whose name is just like yours, but we've added an M and removed the K. OMARI OMARI is the national spokesperson of the Kenya Junior School Teachers Association, and he joins us in the hot seat of the Situation Room this morning. OMARI, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Good to have you in the Situation Room this morning. You're in the hot seat, and we're going to be discussing what is a hot topic at the moment, and we'll let us know a little bit about what the association does and then how it all, comes into this conversation. But before we do that, Dennis Aseto takes us to a different African country every week. He comes back with the proverbs. Don't ask me how he goes, just know he goes. Okay. He comes back with a proverb, and he'll tell you where we are this week. We'd love to hear your interpretation of today's proverb.
The country that you're in is in West Africa and borders Liberia, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, Ghana, and the Atlantic Ocean. And we talk about its capital being Yamoussoukro. You know that country?
Mali.
Okay, or Abidjan as the economic hub and largest city. Also exports Didier Drogba.
Ivory Coast.
Yes, Ivory Coast, exactly. Yeah, but let's go to the proverb today, right? The one who fetches water is the one who is likely to break the pot. The one who fetches water is the one who is likely to break the pot. How would you interpret that?
Oh, the one who fetches water is the one who is likely to break the pot. The one with the responsibilities is the one likely to make the biggest mistake. If you have given a big responsibility, then you are likely also, you are in some kind of danger to actually make the biggest mistake.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So you have responsibility. And we've been seeing mistakes flying at us all over the place. So I guess you try and you try and you try. But in some cases, unfortunately, the trial is not happening as much as we would like it to. Let's look into what's happening with JSS teachers. There's been a debate. Should we domicile JSS in primary school, or should we say that JSS, as the name would suggest, is actually a function of secondary school? Right? So JSS, the first cohort of JSS students are now in grade 9. They're going to grade 10 in January 2026. The jury is still out on whether adequate preparation has been made for them to enter into this particular grade. We'll get into that part of the conversation at some point. But first of all, we'd love to hear from you what the Kenya Junior School Teachers Association is involved in, first of all, and how and what kind of activities you involve yourself in.
Okay, good morning, and thank you for hosting me today and giving us this space so that we can discuss issues to do with CBC and more specifically JSS. I want to greet all teachers in the country, especially our junior school teachers, and most especially our intern teachers who are teaching science experiments without laboratories, who are teaching computer lessons without computers, who are teaching and preparing students to go to senior school to take a sports pathway without efficient or rather enough facilities for sports.
Okay,
and they are paid 70,000. So I want to salute you. You are just miracle workers. And so our association, the KNUT Star.
In your greeting. Okay.
I was trying to catch my breath.
Just a minute. Sorry, what?
So our association was started last year, but when we were intern teachers and we were advocating for our confirmation as PNP, because we felt like qualified and experienced teachers are not supposed to be working as interns in under TSC. So we went to court and met the Minister Machogu and the current minister. We met the CEO, and eventually, anyway, we managed to win. And all of us, 46,000 of us, were confirmed into PNP. So that is how we formed our association. And we are continuing to fight for issues that affect teachers, but most especially the junior school teachers.
All right.
What are these issues that you say are affecting junior school teachers that perhaps someone who's sitting at home might not be aware of? Because a parent would say, my child is going through ABCD, but now from the angle of the teachers who have the mandate of ensuring that these children get the very best, what are the issues that is making it difficult for these teachers to deliver?
Our teachers under JSS were supposed to come in to help our students to go to senior school prepared to take the 3 pathways which are available. So we are supposed to come in, we get laboratories, we get, workshops, computer labs, libraries, so that we prepare our students to do that. But unfortunately, we have no facilities or not enough facilities to be able to do that. And we are supposed to come in, of course, motivated, paid well and all that. Majority of us came in as interns, paid only 17,000 in a month. So those are some of the issues that we have been going through, that some of us are actually going through right now.
Wait, 17,000?
Yes.
This is gross.
After tax. So
this is net.
Yes.
So 17,000 net is what a teacher.
Yes.
How many hours are you clocking in a typical day?
In other 9 hours.
9 hours.
Or even more. Sometimes you are required to be in school by 7 and leave at 7. Depends.
So the beginning, you said you are helping students with their science experiments, but you have no laboratory.
We have science teachers right now who are interns, and they're helping the students with all that entails with science and all that.
And they're teaching actual students in junior secondary school who will be graded for this coursework.
Yes.
All right.
So why are you getting these things to do the experiments, for example? Is it you as the teacher then who will figure out how you're going to do this?
You have to improvise.
With what?
How do you improvise sodium?
Now that's a challenge. So, like you said, some of the things cannot be done without the real thing.
So you have no conical flask.
Yeah.
Just a tumbler.
Tumbler, probably.
No, we're not.
No, seriously.
We're serious here.
Yeah. A Bunsen burner has to burn blue. Yellow is bad. It
has to prove.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that means, as we speak today, an availability of everything that is needed to prepare a student is unavailable. Therefore, these children go to senior school not ready. Pretty much that's what you're telling us.
Majority of the schools, I'd say 95% of schools don't have the facilities that are required. You visit the schools or talk to the parents. They are watching, they are listening. How many of their children, have ever done even an experiment for the last 3 years? You'll be surprised.
So you have a syllabus that you have to cover.
Yes.
So in the syllabus, it clearly tells you that for experiment A, you need this A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And so you as a teacher, because you don't have this and the students don't have this, and you have to prepare them for this science experiment, you then have to creatively figure out what to supplement.
Yes.
Sodium, like Zed was saying, supplement a conical flask, a Bunsen burner, figure out how you're going to create this so that at least they can have this experiment done.
That is
That's upon the teacher.
Or if you have a laptop or a phone, if you're lucky to be having one, because you're being paid 17,000, you can't afford one. If you're having, you can download now
A video.
Yes, a video
On YouTube.
using your own bundles and all that.
So you're showing students a YouTube video
yes,
of a Bunsen burner and how the experiment is done. But they cannot do it themselves
they
practically.
can't. Yes.
Okay, what we're talking about here, it's shocking, of course, to hear. We heard the stories before whereby a teacher of history, for example, would be seconded to a school and then they end up teaching math, in addition to PE, all of those things on one intern teacher. It's good that you talked about the 46,000 teachers then being moved to PNP, and then now they were actually able to settle into their roles. But what you're telling me is very worrying, because in less than 4 months, maybe October, November, less than 4 months, grade 9 students who now will leave JSS, these are the students in JSS right now. So 7, 8, 9 are in JSS, isn't it? Right. These students have selected STEM courses, they've selected the humanities courses, and they've selected other pathways, right?
Yeah.
They did this in second term of grade 9.
That's right.
So you're telling me that the students who will now go into STEM courses, for a greater part, I believe the number is 37%. These are according to studies that we have seen, the research that we've seen. 37% of a lack of science teachers, number one. But beyond that, the facilities needed to get these children to this grade 10 pathway where STEM will be their sole focus for the next 3 years is non-existent.
It's non-existent.
What are we doing?
It's a joke. something needs to be done. And that's why we are calling for what we call going back to the foundation. How we envisioned, or how they envisioned this thing to be, JSS was supposed to be in the secondary section, where laboratories are there and everything was there. But unfortunately, you know what happened in 2023.
So when people were clamoring, I beg your pardon for interjecting, when people were clamoring and saying, no, please domicile JSS in secondary school, because we know that we are going toward pathways at some point. This now, what you're talking about, is a direct result of having not done that.
That's it. From 2017, they did a report. They said JSS should be in secondary. 2018, secondary. 2019, secondary. For 5-6 years, they agreed. But 2023, all of a sudden, now we have a problem where we cannot take them there, like a stopgap kind of thing. Let us keep them here. Meanwhile, all of a sudden now they want to keep them forever. And we're saying, no, this is not the solution. Probably from the argument, they don't want to take them to secondary because they're young and all that. Fine, good. But now putting them to be just an extension of primary school is destroying everything completely. We can correct this in a different way. Let us have autonomy of junior secondary school. Let it run like a section of its own. It's happening in other countries. West African countries are here. It's happening there. Even here in Uganda, the O level and A level are different in some kind of way. So we can have JSS in the primary school section, but independent, so that we can be able to even monitor well if the things which are supposed to be done are being done well. If the money which is supposed to be sent on the laboratories and whatever is being utilized well. It's easier that way.
Wait, I have a question. Back to the subject, eh?
Yeah, let's go to the... Yeah, okay.
Kuna computer lessons?
Ziko?
Yeah.
So, computer ziko? Hakuna?
You might get few in some schools. I have to be honest that you might get few, but are they even enough?
So if a teacher finds themselves in a situation where you have a computer lesson, but you don't have enough laptops in this case, or computers to teach this, so how do you improvise that?
It becomes a problem. Becomes a real problem.
Do parents know this?
I guess they know. They talk to their children every day. You know, most of our students are day scholars, so they meet their parents every day. They know that.
You know, Kari, when you talk about, I have experienced some schools where it is a computer lesson, but you're being shown a computer on a chart. So this is a chart. This is how you turn a computer. So everything is on a chart.
What are you talking about?
Things that ought to be physical with a mouse, where you're told click start menu, go here. You know what I mean?
So you have a flip chart with...
So you have a flip chart with an image of a computer, and do it. So this is file menu, edit and everything, and you call that a computer lesson. This is happening. Like this time it was covered where it is children who are getting into social sciences. You have a swimming class, and what happens? You see children swimming in dust. At the end of the day, you take that child to coast. They were taught how to swim in dust or Mengekwa Ocean. What happens? They don't come back. We need to start connecting the dots on what this is doing to these children, because at the end of the day, there are these students on the other side who have computers and they're being trained to code. They're coding at a younger age. Remember, these both students will be examined at the end of the day. What are we doing?
That's a good question, Omari. How are we, because assessments, now we're looking at this CBE. Assessments take place at grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, and then you have the final assessment at grade 12. Grade 9 assessment, from what we're told, this is the first year that we are sitting at. If students are being assessed on where there was no fundamental capacity for them to learn, what are we assessing?
We're having an exam, or rather the assessment in by 23rd, 24th.
Yes, of October.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And, experiments will be there, by the way, practical.
Practical experiments will be
and
in
I'm
that
telling
exam.
you, I can assure you that there are students in this country who are going to be doing those practicals for the first time ever. Practical now.
Yeah.
In the exam.
Yes. They are going to see a test tube for the first time. If actually it will be available.
How are they supposed to know what to do with it? And how is it okay that we can test these children on something that we know we didn't have the capacity to have them learn on? Why are we having this conversation?
The children are the experiments.
Yeah.
I think that clearly what we are seeing here it's an experimentation of how far you can push somebody to not only not being creative, but how you can mess things up. We're actually raising examples of how badly to manage education. We're becoming an example of, if you want a bad example of how badly you can mess education, this is a classic example. But you're using real
human beings who are at the formation stages of their future.
It's ridiculous. It's an abomination, actually, to do this to these young minds. And like I said to say, you will put this same. I mean, look at the job market.
Yes.
Look at the absorption rate. Look at the trends. And today, you're not just talking about you're locked within Kenya. You're talking about the region. You're talking about the world. So today, there are children in another country in a class. Actually, not too far here, Rwanda.
Yeah.
There was a documentary I was watching. These young kids have these laptops that children are promised. They're being taught how to do AI.
Yeah.
Children are being taught artificial intelligence. But here is a situation, like he's saying, you have a child, ata hauna, oh my God. And you're going to put these two
at the same level to be tested.
How? It's unfair to these children. It's absolutely unfair. And are these conversations you've had with the CS education?
Now that's the problem. That's why we're here probably. We're willing to be here if they are coming to meet teachers, to talk to the real people who are teaching. You know, these people, some of them are professors and the ministers or whatever.
Yes.
They sit together, they make resolutions and guidelines and all that without talking to the real people who are experiencing things. Even the working party, or whatever they call it, the presidential working party, they never came to talk to us, the real people who are teaching. We have been looking for the PS, BTOC. We have been looking for our CS, and we want to have this conversation, but it has not been possible. We want even to have a Skype meeting. Let the teachers talk. Let us raise issues. They are not issues that will probably cost them money or something. Some are just policies. So it's time that we start a conversation, and it's good that it's starting from here.
You know, this conversation ought to have happened a long time ago, because this is something that ought to have happened before even the system itself was rolled out. Because when you talk about computers, these are things that ought to have been bought. Talking about laboratories, either they would have been built or the system would have been maintained the way it was. And as you can see, one Charles Mokibali says, nothing is happening at JSS.
Okay, so let's look at it, for example, because it's very easy to sit here and we can say that we are castigating a system that at some level would work. These same, and unfortunately, the grade 9s have been the guinea pigs of this curriculum. From when they started in 2017, when Ambassador Amina Mohammed said, let's test this thing, let's pilot this thing, and essentially, and this is the truth, she was bundled out of office because she insisted on the testing of this system. And I hazard a guess that if we had actually said, okay, fine, let's pilot this thing, and then we would have seen these bumps along the way. But these children have been thrown into a petri dish. They've been the guinea pigs of this system from when they were in grade 3. Now they're in grade 9, 6 years later, and we're throwing them now again. They were the ones in grade 7 who did not have books until the later part of term 2. In the longest term of the year, they didn't have books because we were still trying to figure it out. Guess what? Right now, the books that these learners are supposed to be using in grade 10 have not been printed, have not been put together. We're again throwing them back into guinea pig status. The same bunch of learners who went through this 6 years ago are about to go through it again. We've been saying, okay, we're at the top of the hill, bora tufike, we'll get there kicking, screaming with one leg, a patch over our eye, but we'll say we've gotten there. Now, that's the students, and we don't even know how they're going to come out. But how frustrating is it for a teacher to then be able to develop and, teach when you don't have the tools required to do this?
It's difficult because, remember, most of our teachers, the junior school teachers, are teachers who are teaching in high schools under BOM.
Okay.
So they were there, they saw, structures working. The games were being run very well, the music festivals, laboratories working very well, libraries, computer labs, and computer, all those, they were working really well. Now you are in a situation whereby nothing seems to work.
Tell us the difference between a BOM teacher who's been seconded into an institution and another teacher, because for purposes of those who may not understand, when we say BOM teacher, what do we mean?
BOM teachers are those teachers employed to teach, probably in a school, let's say in a high school, but they're employed by the board of management
of the
they're
school.
Not employed of the school. They're not employed by the government.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it seems as though the BOM teachers are they're the group of schools teachers, as it were, because they're direct seconded from the school itself. Right?
Yeah, they are young. They've graduated from university 5 years or 3 years after graduation. They are young, energetic, and very, creative.
Ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then they get shell shocked when they get into a system whereby you don't have the equipment or the facilitation in order to teach.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we dealing with we're dealing with frustration on the side of teachers, we're dealing with frustration on the side of students.
Both sides. Both sides. For the teachers, we have a problem that we are teaching our students whom we really love, because we are young teachers who are likely to be in this profession for the next 25 to 35 years, because most of our teachers are below 35 years, most teachers in junior schools. So they are going to be here for the next 30 years. And we are seeing that things are not okay. We are trying to talk. We are not getting, listening here. And then at the same time, even our own career progression is not clear. Because when they say that they want this thing called comprehensive schools, then we shall be there. Our comprehensive, our career progression guidelines are those of the high school teachers, but we shall be in the primary school, whereby a senior teacher by C3, you can be a senior teacher, but for us, C3, you can't be a senior teacher. So we are not sure which guidelines are we going to use, because we all want to grow.
How do you not know which guidelines to use? Is this not something that comes from the ministry?
Yeah.
It comes from the commission. Teacher Service Commission.
For the commission.
Yes.
So how are you not sure? If there's something that is essentially laid out by the commission, that's why they exist, how are then you not sure what to use?
Initially, they were supposed to be used by secondary and primary school teachers. For primary school teachers, since you are together there in that environment, these are your guidelines, all of you. But now we have a situation whereby they're trying to push high school teachers who are now teaching junior school to be put together with the primary school teachers to be one unit. Headed by one head teacher, probably, deputy, probably, senior teachers and all that. Just like right now, we have got senior teachers, deputies, and head teachers. But we are not sure by next year we'll be having some of our colleagues who will be in C3. Will they be allowed also to be senior teachers? Because our senior teachers in primary schools who are in C3, they are senior teachers already.
Okay. So we've already demarcated the mess. I mean, to an extent, I don't think we even have an opportunity to go through just the number of things that are not coming together. But one of the things that you've suggested is autonomy of JSS teachers. What does this mean, and what would this look like?
Okay, it's not a new thing. We just want to go back to the foundation.
Okay.
What they had suggested under the basic educational curriculum framework of 2017, I think, whereby they said, let us have 3 levels: primary, junior school, and secondary. Then in 2023, when they were implementing this JSS, there were some suggestions which are actually, they were implemented, whereby they said we need a management committee which will be independent from primary school BOM. It will be running the school accounts. They said we should have 3 accounts. One for tuition, another one for, I think, infrastructure, and another one for operations. Primary schools have got 2 accounts, I think. Operations and maybe tuition. So for JSS, they said they should have 3 accounts which are separate. Signatories who are different from those from the primary section. So we're wondering if already we are independent in terms of management committee, in terms of capitation comes different, everything is different. So why can't the institutions just be run differently so that even auditing becomes easy? When money has been sent to JSS, we know this amount went to this junior school. We expect to see laboratories. We expect to see, computers and all that. It becomes easier that way.
So if then you become autonomous, who's going to manage this? Is it TSC? Is it going to be the Ministry of Education or BOM? Who's going to manage?
TSC still. They will send teachers. We don't need to be the ones. We know we are young. We just entered the profession just recently. So we are not saying this because some people might be thinking, how watoto wanataka tu wakue wakubwa wa. No. We don't need to be the ones. They can send maybe a senior teacher from high school or deputies to come and head those institutions. That's it.
Are these proposals that you've given to the Ministry of Education, and as we have this discussion, what does it mean to the infrastructure and the facilities that are needed for us to achieve this autonomy?
Honestly, if they had followed the original plan of taking these students to secondary, maybe we wouldn't be needed to build more classes or more laboratories and all that. What is there probably we will have just added a few, but now we will have to, whether we remain with the primary section or we become autonomous, we must have new classrooms, probably more classrooms, more laboratories, more computer labs. They have to be. Yes.
Have you raised this with the ministry, and what's the communication?
We have written letters, text messages, WhatsApp. We have even called. No
response.
We have tried. We have even told them. Recently, we were in State House. We thought we will get an opportunity to also. We were there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys went to State House
Specifically for that. We thought now we have been looking for this. Our president, and since these opportunities come up, let us go. Probably there will be a question answer session. Then, and he promised, ikafika your time. And then he said, any question? And of course, the JSS teachers are young and they are vibrant. They said, yes, we have a question. JSS. Naona hakuna swali. And that was it. We went there specifically for that.
Aliona meinua mikono.
Yeah, so.
Na akasema naona hakuna maswali.
Hakuna swali.
And he walked away.
Yeah, that was it. Because all we wanted, sometimes I wonder if they think that vijana wanataka pesa. No, we don't want money. And the things we are proposing, they're not for us. We are not saying this so that tukue wakubwa. No, we don't want. We know kwamba even with the existing career progression guidelines, we are not yet there.
So you left State House with nothing.
We left State House without what we wanted. That's why you are seeing many press conferences all over.
Omari,
by junior school teachers trying to capture his attention. Hey, Mr. President, we don't even need to talk to you. Even your peers, let us have a meeting with him. Not even physical, useme kwamba hakuna 10,000 ya kuwapatia mkuja hapa. No, we can do it on space. We don't have a problem.
So shida ni access. They're not
shida ni access. Let's talk. Hata wao, probably we are wrong by the way. So we need someone to tell us, this cannot happen because of 1, 2, 3. Let us talk. We might be wrong. Let us have a conversation.
Wow. It seems, and I don't know, it seems as there's quite a lot going wrong at the same time, and that there needs to be quite a lot of streamlining. They're the proponents of quality assurance in schools. They're the proponents of quality assurance amongst teachers in terms of what is delivered. Are we at the place where we're saying that teachers are doing their job and they're doing it excellently well, and doing everything that they need to deliver students at the end of the spectrum, and that the problem is the commission, it's the ministry? Are teachers okay in everything that they're doing and doing?
Let me say that teachers are not doing even okay. They are doing miracles. Primary school teachers, junior school teachers, our head teachers, our senior school, they are doing miracles. They're doing, what they are doing with what is available is a miracle. They're doing everything possible to make sure that our students get the best we can give. The problem is the government, I think. The ministry and the commission. They need to sit with the teachers. They need to share with the teachers so that we can give them some of the ideas to make this even better, to make this work. Because honestly, it is not working as we had wanted it to work.
So let's look at the worst case scenario then. If this autonomy debate is ignored totally because you've tried making inroads and it's very clear at the moment no one is paying attention, what is likely to happen?
One, we will, we are under a union, Kupet, and our SG, the Pope, is Akelo Missouri. So we hope that the Pope will come out and say, no, if they are ignoring you, this is what we need to do. We would love to get out to the streets, because the street language inasikikwa vizuri sana. That's what we will wait for that, but we cannot do that on our own now. We are under union and we'll expect communication and orders from our Secretary General. That's one. Two, we'll be proud of ourselves, of course, that when it was not profitable, because we're not doing this for us, when it is not popular, when it is not safe, we came out and spoke. So 10 years, 20 years down the line, when people will be saying, kwani hii shida ilikuwa, we will say, we spoke when no one wanted us to speak, when it was not safe, when it was not profitable, but you ignored us. Look, we did our part. That's it.
You see, when you talk about this is real life. And let me just read one comment from one Mriti Marigu, who says, I have a kid in grade and for sure I am stressed up. Their future is seriously threatened. These are real lives we're talking about.
True.
If the government doesn't listen to you, you decide to go to the streets, that means you've downed your tools. These kids will continue going through the problems that we see them continue with today. Let's talk solutions. We can talk all negative and throw everything there is. But as we sit here today, which guarantee will we give to Marigu to assure him or her that the child will have proper education as envisioned by the Constitution?
We can promise our parents that we are doing our best. We are doing, like I said, miracles, and we continue doing that. And probably we might not get to the situation of going to the streets. We hope and we believe that our government will listen. They will sit with us so that we talk and see how we can make this better. We must make this work. Meanwhile, we'll do our best.
How do you make this work if you were at State House? There were questions to the head of state with regard to the welfare of JSS teachers and JSS education pretty much as a whole. But you are not given an opportunity to be heard. You have spoken, you've wrote letters, you've wrote SMSs, WhatsApp, Signal, Twitter, everything you've done, but you've not been heard. How then can even Kenyans themselves, parents, come out to push this agenda to ensure that these JSS students are no longer guinea pigs?
We have done our part as teachers. We have done everything, just like you have said. So we are hoping even parents can help us to talk to their members of parliament, their representatives, to talk to them, tell them, hey, what is happening in those JSS schools? Can you sit down with those who are working there and see how to correct this?
Do you think it's a money or resource issue? Because there's a lot that needs to be done. And, you know, you've not been around the block for that long, because according to what you're saying, you know, younger teachers on the in the ecosystem. But that notwithstanding, when you look at things like infrastructure, schools, labs, you know, being built, that's not been around for a long time. Perhaps we see that on the private scale is when we see that, you know, these schools are building, they're building labs. The JSS uptake in private schools then was quite something, because they made sure that they had the required amenities to then be able to deliver an education. Now, is it a resource issue? Because we're not able to see public schools develop as quickly in that regard. Is that a problem?
Let me say, probably resources, yes, because the president himself agreed that he has not been sending enough capitation to the schools. That's one. But management, probably. Because even with the little that is being sent, we expect to see at least something small for the students to use. I mean, computers are not that expensive that we can have schools without totally. So I'd say management, probably. Or maybe the schools are too big to manage. I don't know.
By management, who do you blame for poor management?
For poor management, who is in charge of management of those schools?
I'm asking you, who are you blaming?
Let me say some head teachers. Yes.
If the question of management and the head teachers here come into focus in terms of how they're running these schools, then have you raised these concerns with the relevant authorities?
We have.
TSC, the ministry,
we have.
And what action has been taken? And as we talk about the management as well, the problems that we face today, it is related to resources. Is it also failure to plan, or is it a question of we know it all, your opinion is not needed?
I'd say all. We never planned for this. You saw what happened in 2023. We were not sure whether the students are supposed to go to secondary or to JSS 6 years, 7 years down the line. They should have arranged everything way before. We saw CS Magoa, the late, building classes a year 2, I think, or 2 years 2. I mean, that's too late. It should have started even 5 years before. We should have had enough classes in the secondary section or primary school section way before. So planning, probably we failed to plan, and that is planning for failure. And this mentality of we have professors, or we have people who are experts, and we don't need to ask, we will just sit around, and that is also a problem.
How long have these conversations been in the limelight? How long?
For 1 year now, I think.
A year?
Yeah.
It's been a year.
But it started in 2023, but because we were still struggling with the PNP and all that, it was just,
So the PNP took precedent over everything else because, okay, first of all, we need to make sure that we are entrenched in the system.
Yes.
You need to make sure that you're comfortable first.
Yes.
Before we start looking at the brick and mortar issues, essentially, that help you do your job.
Yes.
Right? So has there been any movement? Usually with conversation like this, somebody will say, okay, fine, guys, I give here, and maybe we wait a little bit. You sorted out the PNP issue. 46,000 students, teachers, essentially now then were grounded, right?
Yeah.
But has there been any movement? Surely this conversation has been in. Akello Misori has talked about this thing over and over again. There's almost a fight between KNUT and KUPPET over this thing. People have been talking about it. Teachers have been complaining. Folks have been sent to school to teach 3 subjects when they only trained in 1. I mean, for crying out loud, it's been a conversation in the limelight for the longest time. Have we seen any movement? Has anybody even said, okay, guys, let's seriously look at this issue?
I think PS Bitok, when he got in, we had him say something to do with that. He said, JSS schools should be autonomous. He was talking about games or something, but that thing has died. Yes, because we were looking for our even games being held by the JSS, teachers and whatever, independently away from the primary school games, because this is a 15-year-old child in the field with a 5-year-old, although they're not playing against each other, but you can even step on them. Sports should be, kama tuko na sports ya JSS, it should be JSS are having their sports. Not JSS and the primary are having their sports. Now it is the grade 1 who are running, watch them, clap for them. If it's assembly, we're having parade, 15-year-old in front of the 15-year-old is a 5-year-old. And for you to get the attention of the grade 1 pupils, you have to sing the nursery rhymes and all that. And this is a 15-year-old who is an adolescent who wants, you talk, I go back to class, I want to read. I mean, it's not working. And the stage development is one of the key things in this CBC thing. That's why we are very strict on age and all that. So we need these students for JSS to be in their teenage environment. Kando, when she comes to school in the morning, she knows I'm going to the JSS section.
Yes.
With our small laboratory, with our small computer lab somewhere there, because in 2 years' time I'll be taking the STEM, whatever. So I need to be very serious about when it's laboratory time. I have to, but now it's chaos.
In terms of the disparities when it comes to salaries, from your perspective, what you earlier said, the teachers getting 17,000, that's net salary. What's a payable scale that you're looking at in terms of salary?
One, I believe that there's no qualified registered teacher who should be paid 17,000 or who should serve as an intern. That's one. All teachers who are interns should be confirmed and earn the same money as I earn, because I do the same work like they do. The number of lessons in a week, if they are 30, they also get 30. So there's no reason why they should be earning that amount. So I believe that first we should be earning the same amount, although the amount that we earn even as is not enough. A teacher who is teaching all these subjects, who is holding a whole system, CBC system is in our hands, should not be paid a net of 40,000. That na mimi niko Nairobi. In Nairobi we are paid a little bit higher. So someone in probably Nyamira or somewhere in Nyamira is probably getting 30,000 net.
You earlier said, because I'm just trying to picture this. The challenge is that in terms of sharing compounds and a lot of these facilities and amenities. So you have adolescents and you have these very much younger ones, all within the same space. What challenges is this bringing?
Of course, one of them is bullying.
Okay.
A 15-year-old and, a 5-year-old bullying and all that. Another challenge is that, they are growing and the different kind of stages where you are kind of rude and all that.
In the age
we
of
know,
running.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly, and we know a way to guide it because we were teaching the high school student. We know how to guide them. That this is a stage. You are not really like a spoiled kid. There's a way we can guide you. But unfortunately, this can be learned by the younger kids also. They're there with them. Yule alitembea hivi and all that. Attacking and all that. They're copying, and so it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
There are infrastructural gaps because you have so many squeezed into small spaces, and you're saying, look, if you want to do then science experiments, you need space, you need labs. I remember when I was in school, in the class we had like 40, ikienda juu sana 45.
Yeah.
That's one class. So when you're doing exams, you're either number 1 out of 40 or you're 40 out of 40.
Yeah.
So one stream then would have at least maybe around 250, ikienda sana 300.
300.
Today, it's actually 300 in one class. So you're also looking at a strain on not only resources, but also space. And I've gone back to many, when you go back to many of those schools, the infrastructure is the same. Classroom is the same size. A lot of things have not really changed. There's no space to even expand. So is this also something that's a challenge? Yes, you're fighting to get space to do a lot of these things, have these kids go through class, but it's also infrastructure an issue and a concern.
A big problem. I don't want to go political because I'm a teacher, I'm not a politician, I'm not an activist, but probably part of this housing, whatever, that they're talking about, affordable housing, we should have started with the classrooms. Go to some schools here, just around here in Rongai. I visited a school where students were 90-something in a class. I mean, a teacher, you just have a space somewhere there. You cannot be able to supervise. You can't pass 90-something, and you are wondering, I'm giving you a house and in school, I don't want to get into that. It's none of my business. I know, we are told that.
20%.
State House. At least you got something.
I don't want to go into that.
Okay.
Totally.
But interestingly, I've seen it's not even a laughing matter. It's serious, where you find a class, the space of these two, for example, there are two teachers teaching at the same time. So there are students who are facing teacher set on that side.
Yeah.
The others who are facing teacher on this side. In the same class.
They're teaching a different subject.
Different subjects in the same class. Isn't that the reality?
Yeah, that's the reality.
Where you then have to share same space in terms of class. You can't do two lessons separately because you don't have one, there's no time, and you don't have that space. So divide the class. So yakifundisha watoto akifesuko au anaface huyu mwalimu akiwa this other direction. Then when it comes to leaving, like he's saying, the other scenario is you find there are so many students crammed in one class. There is no space for the teacher. So the teacher has to go into the class first. Then the students come in. Then lesson ikisha, the students have to leave fast so that the teacher can leave last.
What are we doing?
As we have this discussion in here, one looks at what the Constitution guarantees, the right to education. And that goes further to look at what we're doing with education. And we're asking the question, are we really serious in giving Kenyans that right to education? Because as Okari says, several classes in one room, different blackboards. How are we guaranteeing quality education? We're talking about 90 students in a class with one teacher. How are we guaranteeing education? And I ask the question, are we serious about the education in this country? Would you say we are?
I'd say we need to get serious.
So we are not?
We need to get serious, and it is possible. We are not badly, we are badly off actually, but there's something that can be done. It's not closed forever. It's not closed. Although, like she said, the grade 9 students, it's a sad reality that most of them have lost really a lot. But we can do something. We still can do something. Let's sit down, let's talk and see how we can make this work. And one way of making this work is let's have a unit of its own. JSS a unit of its own. Let us concentrate on it, focus on it. Let's make this work. If it works, then it will be easier for even the senior school to receive students who are ready. But if they receive students who are not fully prepared, it's just a promotion of problems.
You know, as we're talking about JSS, there was also the aspect of retooling teachers and ensuring that the teachers are ready for these students, right? So here you belong in these crop of teachers who were ready. Do we see continuous improvement and retooling of teachers to get ready? Because then again, things have been changing. Now we're talking about CBE, it's no longer CBC. Are we seeing continuous retooling of teachers to ensure that they equally continue to improve themselves on how to deal with the crop of students they have?
We have to give it to them. They have done really a marvelous job, and they are still continuing. Even recently, they started retooling the high school the high school teachers who are going to receive those students, and I know they are going to do that in December again. They are going to retool them. So in that area, I think they have done a marvelous job. A marvelous job. We have undergone like 6-8 retooling sessions almost every holiday. So for us, a person who is teaching JSS right now is very much ready and well equipped in terms of knowledge and being being aware of what CBC is all about and CBE.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So what does it look like? The conversations are being had. The frustration is always obviously out there, whether it's at teacher level, whether it's at learner level, and we are moving. Time is going. We're trying to get along and just stumbling around. But what does it look like? If you were to be honest, is it hopeful, or does it look like we're just going to keep stumbling along?
It's hopeful because we have got teachers who are ready to speak out. They're not afraid to express and to mention what is happening. It will be really sad if we had teachers who are just comfortable. After all, I'm earning my salary, so I don't care. After all, even if we say autonomy of JSS, I am not the one who is going to benefit, so I don't care. It's hopeful because we have got young teachers who really care and want this to work. So if from the other end we get a listening ear and we sit down and we talk and we share ideas, we critique and also accept errors and all that, this is going to work. It is hopeful. Yes.
Omari, thank you so much for joining us this morning, because it's necessary for us to be, alive to the reality of the situation amongst teachers, amongst learners, as we're trying to make strides into the education scenario here, because it is a big deal. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Omari is the national spokesperson for the Kenya Junior Schools Teachers Association and has joined us this morning. Let's see how things unfold as we get into it.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.